My name is Dan Cage. I used to be a drug addict. I'm sober now, but there's still people around into the world of drugs. I've come to this city to give a deep look into what society has become so far. The accessibility for illegal substances around here is terrifying. I've found some cases of people living in hell, a hell around us, a hell that I lived before. Mia is a recovering addict. She got into her first illegal substance use because of her ex-boyfriend. He left, but she stood in the inferno that she called her life to be.
I got a scholarship at Harvard, and everything was, or seems perfect, until that moment when he came into my life and changed it all.
Just like Mia, there are thousands of young people getting into the world of drugs every year and into the crime behavior that comes with it. But why? Luisa is an average university girl. However, the environment surrounding her and her family has changed her life in extreme ways, giving her some excuse out to her daily life.
I had to take care of my two little brothers. I had to cook, I had to do everything at house. After that, I started to consume cocaine, marijuana, alcohol.
But having to take care of her brothers and do stuff at her house is not a reason to take a pipe and roll off, get into drugs and become a full-time addict. So I approached the United Nations Agency on Drugs and Crime to have a better view into this world and how it's growing nowadays. Is there even a proper control to the use of illegal substances? How can this be getting so out of hands worldwide?
At the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, we aim to reduce crimes regarding drugs, terrorism, and political corruption. Normally, Colombia has several cases of drug trafficking per year. Nowadays, there are several crime-related issues around the globe. Our main goal is to support governments in the implementation of different conventions, treaties, and protocols to face different situations in the field. Also, technical and financial assistance is necessary to ensure the well-development of crime control operations.
All necessary, however, public consciousness is vital to ensure a well-understanding of the dangers and repercussions that substance abuse brings to not only an addict's life, but to the people around him. General media nowadays gives a different perspective on what is the world of drugs and puts in the general community's mind that the substance abuse is an okay thing. So it's not weird to see television series that make the substance abuse as something funny and cool for young people. But the actual outcome is totally different. Lottie is what I would call a result of media brainwashing. She has been addicted to psychedelics for years, and now she's delusional about her real life. Even more, the life of crime seems to be an okay thing for her in general perspective of living.
It all started when I was a teenager. I lived in a really poor neighborhood with my mom, and I saw every day some cars down the street that pick up some girls. So I asked myself why I can be one of that girls. So one day I just talked to a guy and he picked me up. He took me with him to his luxury mansion, and it all started there.
Lottie is also a good example of social behavior regarding drugs and crime. Even if she's now baked for substance abuse, she has really strong feeling towards her choices in life.
I wouldn't change anything in my life. I had made the right decisions and I'm really proud of it.
After all, has there even been a change in drugs and crime for the international policy? Is there an actual international campaign against drug use and substance abuses? And how could there be so many failures in terms of the so-called war on drugs?
The agency has evolved a lot since its creation back in 1997, mostly derived from more cohesion with worldwide governments and different campaigns aimed to raise awareness on drugs and crime problems. These campaigns help ensure that population understands the dangers of a drug crime or any crime in general. We could point out that reducing drug consumption has been a more difficult task and goal every year. Unfortunately, drug consumption in our society has increased over the last 5 years, and the overall media is really not working. We definitely seek to decrease the number of consumers among society, especially students all over the world. However, the panorama is not looking good so far.
Why is it not looking good so far? Why is it so hard to stop drug abuse and related crime nowadays? Maybe I could say that the people you hang out with makes you more prone to get on drug affairs.
The environment related to drugs at the university is very open, and the city as well. So it is really easy to get drugs anywhere and anytime.
It is really hard to get out. But the thing that they don't know is that there are many institutions.
You could find the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime headquarters in Vienna, Austria. However, we have personnel in various countries over the world. Indeed, the agency employs between 1,500 and 2,000 people worldwide and counts with 21 field offices in different countries. We must clarify that most of the funds in the UNODC are going to heavy campaigns against drugs and crime. Especially, the agency has been lately highly concerned with the human trafficking, for which great amount of funds have been raised, mostly to increase programs against this horrible practice.
So there are agencies willing to help in matters of drug abuse and crimes related to the matter. However, it seems to me that the real problem lies on what young people are surrounding themselves with, more than the lack of control and assistance by certain organizations. The UNODC representative assistance was definitely a must in terms of worldwide understanding on how the system is currently working.
The agency has the World Drug Report, which is basically a yearly publication that presents assessment on the drug problem worldwide, the changes of transfer production, trafficking, and use of drugs. All this in order to enhance member states' understanding of global illicit drug trends and increase their awareness.
Aside from organizations matters, I feel bad mostly for the amount of young people falling into my own steps. I feel bad because the society we live in is encouraging new generations to step in on the drug abuse and recreational substances. I feel bad because it looks like the efforts we do to make a difference seems to be worthless. I feel bad for Mia, Luis and Lottie because they are just victims of some wicked global social experiment. I feel bad because no one seems to understand the big panorama of the current worldwide situation. And mostly I feel bad because the old multimedia and general media content seeks to drive general public into the hell that I somehow managed to escape, but with repercussions that will last all my life. Now it begins.